Hey everyone, welcome back. Now that Rise of the Floodborn is officially released, I've started to do some testing with different decks, and over the next couple of weeks here, I'm going to bring you some deck guides. The first deck I want to share with everyone is a red-blue control deck that is doing extremely well in my testing. Currently, my win rate's at about 92%, and it has very favorable matchups. So we're going to dive in, we're going to take a look at all the cards, how to play the deck, the strengths and the weaknesses, and I'll give you my overall thoughts. Okay, so here is the deck. You'll be able to find the link down in the comment or description below if you want to take a look at it. So first off, let's take a look at some of the stats of the deck here. Overall, you have a pretty high curve. You have a lot of 5 through 9 drops here, although you do have a bunch of early action as well. In terms of the color, it is primarily blue. Red has more of the controlling elements, and most of it is inkable, 40 to 20, which is a pretty fair distribution, and that's between 17 to 20 is what you want to get away with. So I think having 20 non-inkables here, especially in this control and ramp style deck, is exactly what you want to do. So overall, taking a look at this, so what this deck does is it does extremely well at ramping you to the high end. It has built-in card draw engines, which you'll find very efficient, as well as it's just going to outvalue your opponent and have a ton of removal. So much so that you're not actually playing the usual removal spells, right? You're not playing Dragonfire, things like that. So let's take a quick look through the deck, and I'll kind of let you guys know all the different packages. So taking a look, you got 3 copies of Sergeant Tibbs. Primarily, I've been inking this card. He is able to come out, especially against some of those aggro decks, to get a quick trade on one of their characters. But overall, primarily there just to buy you some time and then get you ink. Same thing with Grammatala. I'm happy just to play her as ink. If I can place her down and trade for one of their 2/1s or able to ramp a little bit, that's fine, but also fine just to play for ink. Judy Hopps is a reasonable body. So for 3 inkable casting cost, he had 2/3, so often trades well into those super aggro decks. Is questing for 2 lore, so something they do have to answer. And then reads, when you play this character, you may banish chosen item, and this player draws a card. So this can work both ways. If you're against one of those Steel Song decks or one of those aggro decks that are playing lanterns or something of that nature, you can obviously destroy their item. Alternatively, we do have one item in our deck that we're able to recur that you're able to destroy and draw a card. We do have 4 copies of Mickey Mouse Detective. This is just an excellent card that's able to ramp you pretty quickly. Mickey also has a 1/3 body, so it's able to pair well with Teeth and Ambitions, where you deal 2 damage to one of their characters, and you have to do 2 damage to one of your characters. So a lot of these creatures with 3 toughness, such as Judy, such as Mickey, are good targets for this. Same with Nick Wilde. Here, all of these have high toughness, so you're able to use this card on them. Additionally, if you need to do it on Grammatala, that's fine because it's just ramping you. So Teeth and Ambitions actually has a good spot in this deck. The real card draw engine, the package you want to be running, so you play 4 of these popsicles. Oftentimes you're playing this on turn 1, so it reads out when you play this item, you may draw a card, and then later on you can banish this item to remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. We don't really use the banish this item. I mean, if you can get a heal off, fantastic. Oftentimes you're banishing the item literally just to get it back. So oftentimes you'll play a couple of those. You may destroy it with Judy Hopps, so you draw a card. Ideally with Hiram here, you get to draw 2 cards. When this character comes into play and every time it quests, you banish one of your popsicles, and it will draw 2 cards off of it. You then pair that with Nick Wilde here, who's a 2/4 for 4 that has 2 lore, so again needs to be answered at some point. And then you get the popsicle back from your discard, and so you're able to continually recur this with Hiram and just draw a ton of cards. It's very excellent. And then our high end is really our suite of removal and how to win. So Maui just acts as removal. He's inkable. We do have the Lady Tremaine, non-inkable. One of the things you'll notice are most non-inkable cards here, I try to only run 3 of, unless it's ramping me. So you can see here, Mickey, I'm running 4 of, but it is ramping me, so I'm okay with that. Whereas Lady Tremaine, I'm running 3. Gaston, I'm running 3. Hades, I'm running 3. So most of the non-inkables, I'm running 3. Even one jump ahead here, where I am running 3. So we have Maui in the deck for removal. Lady Tremaine, same thing. This is an excellent card. They get to banish one of their creatures, but with the amount of removal you have, oftentimes you only have 1 creature in play anyways. So it's very rare they're going to have 2 or 3 creatures out and are able to get the best pick. She's been very, very good, and certainly I think is an underestimated card. Gaston is just a powerhouse. Um, Obviously, he comes in, you're able to look at the top three cards of your deck and then pick the one you need. But what he's really underappreciated for is this is a big body. I mean, a 4/4 questing for 3 lore. They have to answer him very quickly, and oftentimes he's not necessarily your threat. Like oftentimes you're playing him just to get your other items, some of your bigger creatures out, and but they're wasting a lot of resources on him. I've been very impressed with the Gaston. Big Hades is obviously amazing, just has removal. Maleficent Dragon again, amazing, has removal. So a lot of these things you're just getting a ton of value out, right? So I mean, Lady Tremaine, they lose a creature, you get a big body. Gaston, you get an extra card and a big body. Hades, they lose a creature, you get a big body. Maleficent, they lose a creature, you get a big body. You got your card draw engine with Judy Hopps, Hiram, Nick Wilde, and the item. You've got your ramp with Grammatala, Mickey Mouse, and One Jump Ahead. All these, there's a lot of synergy here, and you got a lot of these small packages, and it fits together really nicely. Looking in, we do have two of the Tamatoa. More importantly, it's that when you play this character, whenever he quests, you can return an item card from your discard to your hand. So this is another way to recur our items. And then he gets +1 lore for each item you have in play. So oftentimes he's a 3 or 4 lore creature, and then obviously you're sacking the items you get back to hear him, and you're just drawing more cards. It really keeps you alive. We do have some Let It Goes for removal. In my playtesting, I found that I rarely actually use Let It Go. It was few and far between. Between the Be Prepares wiping their entire board, with the Teeth and Ambitions being able to get rid of their small creatures, with Lady Tremaine, Hades, Maleficent all removing, with a hasted Maui coming out and getting rid of their characters there. I haven't noticed a ton of time that I've had to play Let It Go, but if they do get a character out there that I'm having a hard time with, it's obviously an MVP. One Jump Ahead, we've already spoken about, that's just excellent ramp, and then Popsicle. So that's the shell of the deck. It's run very, very well. Like I said, I think I'm at a 92% or 93% win rate. I'm 11-1, whatever that comes out to be. And those are against all meta decks. Um, Overall, this deck, I think it's a tier 1 deck. I really do. I think it's probably underappreciated. I came up a couple mirror matchups against other blue-red kind of item type decks. Some that were playing the Shield of Virtue and some of the other items as well, leaning more heavily into those items. It wasn't even close. This deck just ran through those decks. That wasn't even close. This deck does reasonably well against the super aggro decks that are running rampant right now. Especially if you're on the play, like if you're turn one playing, you're oftentimes just able to get up to like 7 mana incredibly quickly. As funny as that sounds. Like oftentimes it's like turn one Popsicle that draws you a card, and then turn two you get Grammatala down or One Jump Ahead, so you're already at 3 mana, and then turn three you play Mickey Mouse, and right, so now you're really just ramping, getting up to 4 or 5 mana within 3 turns, and then you're just wiping the board. Be prepared. So this deck's done incredibly well with against the super aggro. It's done very, very well against the mirror matchups or other control decks. I played twice now. I played two different decks that have been the mill deck, where it's the oftentimes either the green steel or steel some sort of combination, where they're just trying to force you to deck out. They play a bigger deck. They're playing a whole new world and cards that get you to draw cards. One of them I won, and one of them I lost. And so even the one I won though was pretty close. I think I only had 6 cards left in my library. And so if you were to play against that deck, I think you have to play a bit differently. General advice for playing the deck: don't use Judy Hopps unless you really need it, unless you're stalling out. You want to save your items for Hero. If you're have a Nick Wild that you want to play, banish your Popsicle even if you can't heal anything to get it back with Nick Wild, because then you get to draw another card from Popsicle. Don't be afraid to ink your Teeth and Ambitions and Let It Go, especially as you're getting up and you have more cards here. Against the super aggro decks, really push your mana as fast as you can up to Be Prepared. If you're playing against the mill deck, get all of your cards on the table as fast as possible, because you really have to be pressuring with lore. The game I did lose, I had a lot of cards left in hand that if I got out quicker and weren't playing so conservatively, I would have pulled farther ahead. And the same holds true for the green discard deck that is out there a lot right now. If you're playing the green discard deck, dump everything as soon as you see a discard card come out or some sort of mechanic like that. Dump your hand. Get everything on the table as quickly as possible. Don't worry about trying to combo because they're going to get a lot of value out of you discarding cards. But there we have it. This is the blue-red control deck. I'm a huge fan of this deck. It's been a lot of fun. I think it is a tier 1 deck. I think you're going to see it or some sort of combination of it doing very well in tournaments. And this is certainly the deck I'm going to be playing for the next little bit. And there we have it. That is it. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you really like this video, please hit subscribe. If you know how I can improve upon this deck, leave a comment below, and I'll see everyone soon.
To a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small.